I never planned to become the quiet disappointment in my family. It just happened slowly, the way things do when life forces you to choose survival over applause. My name is Sarah Hayes. I'm 25, and I work night shifts at a frozen food plant on the outskirts of a small Ohio town called Riverton. This isn't a confession or a pity post. I'm writing this like a message to the version of me who almost forgot her own worth. After my dad passed away, someone had to stay. The mortgage didn't care about grief, and the bills didn't pause out of respect. While my siblings packed their lives into dorm rooms and internships, I clocked in, pulled on steel-toed boots, and learned how cold metal feels at 3 in the morning. It wasn't glamorous. I smelled like spices and freezer air most days, but the lights stayed on. To my mom, though, my job wasn't responsible. It was embarrassing. I remember a family barbecue a few summers ago. Relatives were laughing, drinks in hand, asking the usual questions about careers and promotions. When it was my turn, my mom laughed first, like she needed to soften the blow. "Oh, Sarah's just figuring things out," she said, "helping out at a local place for now." She couldn't say the word factory. Later, when I tried to explain that I was working overtime to keep us afloat, she pulled me aside and whispered like my life was a secret she didn't want overheard. "Why can't you be more like your siblings? This job, it's not something to be proud of." I swallowed it, like I always did. I told myself it was temporary, that one day if I worked hard enough, she'd look at me differently. That love would arrive once I earned it properly. Then Mother's Day came. I was sitting behind the loading dock on my break, fingers numb from the cold, scrolling through my phone and pretending I didn't care. I did care. Of course I did. When the family group chat lit up, my chest tightened. For half a second, I imagined a message that included me. Instead, I read words that erased me completely. And in that moment, sitting on a crate outside a factory, I realized something had finally broken. But what my mother did next after that message was the thing that changed everything. And no, it wasn't an accident. Mother's Day in Riverton always looked cheerful on the surface. Freshly cut grass, discount flower bouquets, smiling Facebook posts. Inside the factory, though, it was the same as every other day: cold air, humming machines, and the smell of seasoning that clung to your clothes long after your shift ended. I was on my break, sitting on an overturned crate near the loading dock, scrolling through my phone even though I told myself I wouldn't. I said I didn't care if my family reached out that day. That was a lie I'd gotten very good at telling. Then my screen lit up. Family Hayes group chat. My heart paused, just for a second. I imagined something simple. Happy Mother's Day, maybe even my name tucked somewhere at the end. I opened the message. It was long, carefully written, polished. "Mother's Day dinner tonight. So proud of my successful children. Mark saving lives every day. Emma thriving in her creative career. Lily Hour, future lawyer. Can't wait to celebrate you all tonight. Dinner at Leodin Centrifin." She tagged all 3 of them. Not me. No typo, no follow-up. No, and Sarah too. Just absence. The reactions came fast. A flexed bicep emoji from Mark, hearts and sparkles from Emma. Lily wrote, "Can't wait, Mom." I stared at the screen, refreshing like an idiot, waiting for someone, anyone, to notice. For my mom to correct herself? For one of my siblings to ask where I was in all this? Nothing came. The only thing I could see was my own reflection in the dark part of the screen, hair shoved under a factory cap. Hands rough from the cold. Eyes burning. That message wasn't an accident. It was an announcement. Successful kids only. A moment later, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a video call from my mom. I watched it ring, her smiling photo hovering there like a mask. I knew exactly what she'd say. That I was being sensitive. That I misunderstood. That I should be grateful to be part of the family at all. I let it ring until it stopped. A text followed almost immediately. "Hope you understand. Tonight is just about celebrating achievements. You know you're always part of the family. Always part of the family. Just not worth mentioning." I didn't reply. I slid my phone into my pocket and went back to the production line. My body moved on autopilot. But inside, something cracked and something colder replaced it. That night, while my family clinked glasses without me, I made a decision. Not a dramatic one. Not yet. But for the first time in my life, I stopped asking how to make my mother proud and started asking why I kept letting her decide if I mattered at all. And the answer terrified me. The morning after Mother's Day, my alarm went off at 4:30 a.m., just like always. Same sound. Same darkness. Same cold floor under my feet. But something was different. For the first time, I didn't wake up wondering what I could do to finally earn my mother's approval. I woke up wondering why. I had spent so many years chasing something she kept moving further away. That thought stayed with me all day. Through the clatter of machines, through the ache in my shoulders, through every automatic. "You okay?" I answered with a nod. That evening, after my shift, I sat at the small kitchen table in my studio apartment with a notebook and a pen. The place was quiet, too quiet, but I needed that. At the top of the page, I drew a line straight down the middle. On the left, I wrote, "Stay connected." On the right, "Cut ties." It felt dramatic, almost disrespectful. Who seriously considers cutting off their own family over a text message? Still, I wrote, "Stay connected. Holidays together." Maybe she'd accept me someday. Being the good daughter, keeping the peace. The list felt thin, forced, undercut ties. No more humiliation. No more waiting to be included. Space to build a life on my terms. Peace! That side filled up fast. My pen hovered. Guilt crept in, sounding a lot like my mom's voice. "You're being dramatic. Family is family. You owe us." My phone buzzed. The family group chat was alive again. Photos from the Mother's Day dinner flooded the screen. My mom smiling between Mark and Emma. Lily holding flowers. Captions like, "So proud of my kids and family is everything." Then came the private messages. Mark texted first. "Mom was kinda hurt you didn't respond. You know she didn't mean it that way." Emma followed. "Just show up more with your career stuff, and she'll include you. That's just how she is." No one said the message was wrong. Apparently the problem was me. Something inside me hardened, not angrily but quietly. I opened the group chat, scrolled back to the words "successful kids only" and took a screenshot. I saved it, not to obsess over, but as proof. A receipt of the moment my place in the family became optional. Then I muted the chat. For a year, after that I opened my mom's contact. My thumb hovered for a long second. The phone asked, "Are you sure?" For once, I was. I blocked her, then Mark, then Emma. I hesitated with Lily, my baby sister. I left her unblocked. That night, my coworker and friend Mia came over with takeouts. She didn't ask questions at first. Just looked at the notebook, the red eyes, the silence. "You already know your answer," she said softly. "You wrote it down." At the bottom of the right column, with shaking hands, I wrote 3 words. 1. Choose me. I didn't know it yet, but that choice was about to change everything. Because once the noise stopped, my life didn't fall apart. Finally got quiet enough to grow. And that scared my family more than anything. What is it? Once I muted the family chat and blocked the numbers. My life didn't collapse the way I'd always been warned it would. It just got quieter. Not empty quiet. No constant reminders of celebrations I wasn't invited to. No backhanded comments disguised as jokes. No pressure to perform a version of success that was never meant for me. In that silence, I heard something I hadn't listened to in years. Myself. I threw my energy into work, but not out of desperation this time. Not to prove anything to my mom. I wanted to prove something to me. When my supervisor mentioned that the company reimbursed tuition for technical courses, I didn't brush it off like I usually did. I signed up, night classes, industrial safety, process improvement, the kind of stuff no one brags about at family dinners, but that actually keeps places running. Mia joined me, and we became those people who sat in the front row. Half exhausted, half excited, trading notes and terrible vending machine coffee. Something shifted inside me. Not confidence exactly, ownership. Then one evening, rushing into class with papers tucked under my arm, I heard my name. Sarah? I froze. It was Lily. She stood near the hallway bulletin board, backpack slung over one shoulder, eyes wide like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to be there. We stared at each other for a second that felt heavier than it should have. I didn't know you were taking classes here, she said. I didn't know you were either, I replied. We sat down on a bench, knees almost touching. That's when she admitted our mom didn't know she was exploring other programs. She was supposed to be following the plan, the shiny one. I saw the Mother's Day message, Lily said quietly. I wanted to say something. Mark told me not to stir things up. Her apology landed harder than anything my mom had said. She's been weird since you stopped talking, Lily added. She keeps saying you're overreacting, but she's embarrassed. People keep asking why you're not around. There it was. My absence was ruining the story. A few weeks later, my manager called me into her office. I thought I was in trouble. Instead, she closed the door and smiled. We're launching a new frozen meals line, she said. I want you as a line supervisor. More pay, more responsibility. A year ago, my first thought would have been, Mom has to hear about this. This time, it was something else. I earned this. The job was hard, scheduling, conflict, pressure, but people trusted me, not because of a title, but because I knew the work. I'd been there. Late nights still brought doubts. Old habits die slowly, but something else was growing alongside them. Freedom. And then, on one restless night, I started writing, just to vent, about class, about work, about being erased. I didn't know it yet, but those words were about to travel far beyond my apartment. And when they did, my mother would hear them, even without my name attached. What started as a late-night rant turned into something I couldn't stop. At first, I was just typing to get the weight out of my chest. About blue-collar work. About how some families treat effort like it only counts if it looks impressive on social media. About what it feels like when your own name disappears from a sentence. Your mother carefully crafted. By the time I finished, the sun was coming up. On impulse, I copied the text into an anonymous blog Mia had once mentioned. No photos, no names, no city, just the truth. I titled it something that felt sharp enough to hurt and honest enough to heal. Successful kids only. When your family celebrates, everyone except you. Before I could overthink it, I hit publish. I expected maybe a handful of views, a few strangers scrolling past. Instead, the post spread. Comments started pouring in, people saying I thought I was alone. My mom did this when I became a mechanic. Cutting contact saved my life. The validation from strangers hit deeper than years of forced smiles at family dinners. Mia texted me, "This is you, isn't it? I'm proud of you." Then something unexpected happened. One of my mom's church friends, someone I'd never bothered to remove from social media, shared the post with the caption, "Parents, please don't do this to your kids." The story traveled through the same circles my mom lived in. A few days later, an unknown number called my phone. I didn't answer. I listened to the voicemail later. "Sarah, it's Mom. People keep sending me this story. They're saying it sounds familiar. I hope you're not involved in something that makes our family look bad. We need to talk." Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Did I hurt you?" Just fear for her image. I saved the voicemail. Another receipt. At work, my manager pulled me aside one afternoon. "I read this article," she said carefully, "about a daughter being excluded by her family. If that was you, it was powerful. Anyone who can lead a team and write like that is going places." That night, I printed the blog post and the old pros and cons list. I put them in a folder and labeled it "Proof I'm Not Crazy." Then came the invitation. A local storytelling event. Theme: When Family Crosses the Line. Mia waved the flyer at me like it was fate. Standing on that stage was terrifying. But I told the truth. About the text. The silence. The choice. I asked the question that once shattered me. Have you ever realized you're only loved on someone else's terms? People cried. People nodded. People thanked me. On the bus home, my phone buzzed again. The post had been shared by a massive page. Hundreds of thousands of views. Buried in the comments, I saw a familiar name. Liddy. She'd written, "Sometimes the successful kids are just the best performers. The rest are just trying to survive." That's when I knew. This wasn't revenge. It wasn't drama. It was balance. And my mother's carefully built story was finally cracking without me lifting a finger. The question now wasn't whether she'd reach out, but what she'd ask for when she did. Time passed in the quietest way possible. No dramatic confrontations. No surprise apologies. Just days stacking on top of each other while I built a life that didn't revolve around waiting to be chosen. I traveled for work. I trained teams. I kept writing. My apartment slowly filled with signs of a life that belonged to meat plants I didn't kill, books I actually finished, friendships that didn't require me to shrink. Every now and then, Lily would update me, carefully, gently. Mom wasn't over the story. The blog, the talk, the phrase "successful kids only." She hated that it followed her, that she was no longer the author of the narrative. She switched churches for a while, complained about being misunderstood, about people judging her without knowing the full story. She never said, "I hurt my daughter." Then life applied pressure. Health issues, bills, repairs on the old house, stress stacking faster than solutions. One night, Lily called me with a voice I recognized immediately. The "something's wrong" voice. "She wants your number," she said. "She says she needs to talk to you." I already knew what this was about. "She's behind on payments," Lily continued. "The roof's leaking. Hospital bills. She heard you're doing well now. Traveling, speaking." There it was. Not, "I miss you." Not, "I'm sorry. Just need." Guilt is sneaky. It doesn't care how much you've healed. It only remembers what you were trained to do. For a moment, the old version of me, the one who stayed behind, worked overtime, fixed what wasn't hers to fix, rose up. I took a breath. "What do you think I should do?" I asked Lily. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "You already paid more than your share. Mom never counted that when she erased you. I don't think you owe her a rescue now. I think this is just consequences." Hearing my baby sister say that closed something inside me. Not angrily, calmly. I told Lily she could pass along a message, but not my number. A few weeks later, a small package arrived at my apartment. No return address, but I knew the handwriting instantly. Inside was a childhood jewelry box and a letter. She never wrote, "I'm sorry." She wrote that I misunderstood her, that she only wanted the best for me, that I had hurt her by making things public, that people were whispering. And near the end, she wrote, "After everything I did for you, the least you could do is help me now." I didn't argue with the letter. I didn't explain myself again. I opened my old notebook and wrote facts instead of feelings. I reminded myself I told my story without names. I didn't cause her health issues. I didn't erase myself, she did. Through Lily, I sent one short message. "I hope you take care of your health and find the support you need. I'm not able to step back into this role. I wish you peace." That was it. It didn't feel victorious. It felt heavy, sad, and strangely free. Some nights, I still miss the idea of a mother more than the person she was. That doesn't make my choice wrong. It makes me human. Standing on my balcony one evening, factory lights glowing in the distance, I realized something. The place where I once read a message that erased me had become the place where I finally chose myself. So now I'll ask you the same thing I had to ask myself. When someone who once broke you asks you to come back and fix the damage, is forgiveness giving them access again? Or is it choosing your freedom and walking forward anyway? Only you get to decide.